All right, welcome to the Heaven of Rock podcast. My name is Kevin, and I help musicians improve their musicianship and lifestyle. And today we have guitarist, songwriter, road warrior, and someone who continues to expand the stage with the legendary Alice Cooper himself, and dare I say, fellow podcast host Ryan Roxie. Please welcome back to the episode, Ryan. How are you doing today?
Feels good to be back. It's been a little while, but nice to see you, man. Everything's going good.
I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm glad to hear that. We have a couple of things to catch up on. Well, first of all, you are reaching 30 years with Alice Cooper, so congratulations on that. You have a new single out. There is a lot of new stuff happening in the Alice Cooper camp. So,
It's still Alice Cooper. At the end of the day, you come to an Alice Cooper show, you come for the man, the myth, the legend, Alice Cooper. And I can't believe, it's been 30 years because 96 was the first tour I ever did with Alice. And I haven't toured every single year with Alice. There was a hiatus that I took when I moved to Sweden and watched my kids grow up. And that was in the early 2000s. And then, a year here, a year there. I did Slash's Snakepit for a year. I did my own stuff. My first son was born. So certain things had happened during those years. But ever since 2012, when I rejoined the band, it's been consistently every single year. And Alice shows no signs of slowing down. So we're just happy to be out there rocking and rolling for everybody out there that comes out to an Alice Cooper show. And if you haven't seen Alice Cooper live yet, I strongly suggest it. Do it today. Go check out the tour schedule today because it's a show definitely not worth missing. And you got to go check out the new lineup as well. We have Anna Cara that joined us on guitar. Nita just had her baby, so congrats to her and her family. But we have Anna Cara playing in the band now and Tommy Hendrickson on guitar. So we're still a triple guitar threat. And of course, you got the rhythm section of Glenn Sobel and Chuck Garrick. And of course, we got that goofy guy with the eye makeup that just never seems to stop rocking. We've got the original Alice Cooper on the lead vocals.
Alice is one of the coolest cats in the game out there, and honestly, it continues to amaze me because there's just a lot of value that you get when you see Alice Cooper live, as opposed to, you just have to go and see the show. And speaking on that, looking back on 30 years playing with Alice, what do you think is a factor that has mattered the most on, Alice saying, "Hey, Ryan, let's continue to play together"?
I think it's being consistent, being on time, being consistent night after night, giving it as much energy as he gives it every single night on stage. He actually inspires me to raise my energy levels because I see him performing at such a high level. And I think, it really is the knowing how to hang out in the context of a band. There's a lot of great musicians out there. There's a lot of great performers out there. But in order to be in this band, the Alice Cooper band, you have to perform. You have to be a certain level of musicianship, of course, but you also have to learn how to get along with those other personalities that you're playing with night in and night out, because you're basically on the road just as much as you're with your own family. You're with your road family as much as you're with, your real family, which hits home when you think about it. I've spent more time this year on the road than I have at home. So it's so far. And so it's a crazy game, but you learn how to play it and you learn how to get along with everybody. And it's all about the hang as much as it is about the musicianship. And again, I can't emphasize this enough, being on time and being consistent.
I like when you said it's about knowing how to get along, because when I recall on my first tour, it was a crazy story because I end up networking with people in the scene, and I end up messaging the singer, and next thing you know, the singer is asking me, "Can you play one song?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. Can you play another song?" "No problem." And then eventually I end up getting the opportunity, and for privacy purposes, let's call this band the Lighting Cats. And If there is a band that has that name out there, I'm just using that as an example, so don't sue me. It's for a good cause, but nevertheless, man, like I ended up getting on the phone call and with the singer, and I quickly learned that the band members had left the band and left him stranded. So he's in the midst of putting a new band together. And so far, it's me and him trying to finish a whole summer tour. So we get my friend on bass, in which I haven't spoken to him in 2 years. So you have me going on like, "Hey, dude, I hope you're doing well, but I just joined a band. Do you want to go on tour?" Luckily, he's able to do that, and then we get a drummer that has not played since probably 8 years or so. So here we are, guys that have
You
never
got to make
played.
it work. You got all these different parts together. You got to make work.
Exactly. And like one of the things that it was hard for me, and probably the most fun at the same time, was just like learning how to like maneuver, because you're not just dealing with different personalities, but you're also dealing with lifestyles. Like the guys, I was the only sober one in the band. The guys like to I think like the drummer and my friend, they like to smoke and they like to watch TV in the hotel. And essentially sometimes it's like the singer had a different, personality. He was more quiet and reserved. The drummer was more outspoken, more attitude. So for me, it was just trying to keep the peace and just trying to maintain a good vibe overall, which we did. But there were also some challenges that occurred because it was also a chaotic time for the singer. So besides, we can agree that playing music is probably the easy part, but what has been the most challenging for you during your years as a tour musician? Like, are there any other factors that were more challenging than playing the music itself in your experience?
I think being, and I don't look at it as it being a hard thing. I look at it more as a cool challenge to be able to recreate these songs that Alice has had over the span of his career. Alice has been releasing records since the late 60s. So you talk about how many decades of music, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and he continues to put records out. And with a lot of those lineups that made Alice a household name, the original lineup, of course, being those guitar duos of Glenn Buxton and Michael Bruce, those riffs and those songs, we try to recreate those. But then he also has the Poison era, and he has the other 70s Welcome to My Nightmare era with Dick Wagner and Steve Hunter. So there's been a lot of great guitar duos and combinations of musicians over the years. And when we get presented a set list, when Alice puts the songs together, we're representing a bunch of different eras of Alice Cooper. So that's always a very cool challenge to undertake, but we're trying to recreate those songs as in the spirit of the recordings that they made them in the same spirit of rock that they recorded those songs in, but we're also putting our own stamp on it as a three triple guitar player threat now, so to speak, because we do have that luxury of having that extra guitar, and which means we can do a lot more harmonies, we can do a lot more backing stuff. So it's kind of cool with that three guitar lineup. I would say the music is challenging, the scheduling and just gearing up year after year for the travel. And I know it's not a bad thing. Trust me. I'm never gonna say, oh wow, it's so hard. No, we get to travel in a very luxurious way. We're very lucky to tour on the level of touring that we're doing. But at the same time, it is day in and day out. And when you're gone for 2 months away from home at a stretch, it does take a little bit of a toll. So mentally, you have to prepare yourself, and whether you choose to do meditation, whether you choose to do workout, whether you choose to do physical exercise or mental exercise, you have to get yourself geared up, because it all goes towards that 90 minutes, 2 hours on stage every single night, because you want to give the audience as much entertainment as they paid for and as they deserve it. Ticket sales are so friggin' expensive these days. You got to give people a great show. At least try giving them the best show you can. So you got to be mentally and physically balanced and prepared. And I do a combination of both. I do transcendental meditation as well as try to, hit the gym at least, 5 days a week if I can. It's nothing big, but it's like elliptical stuff. Just, do your cardio and play some golf. Have fun doing it. At the end of the day, it's my mantra's always been enjoy the ride. So you got to enjoy what you're doing, or pick something else that you do enjoy doing, and hopefully makes you some money.
In a sense, absolutely, because the money is one of the most it's definitely an important aspect of it. But one thing that I like about Alice
It
is that
clicks a box. Money definitely clicks a box, but honestly, I've always said if you do something that makes you happy and truly makes you happy, and you don't feel like it's much work when you're doing it, eventually the world's going to find some way for you to get paid for it.
1000%. And what I like about this tour is that Alice has been doing shows with Chris Angel, which has definitely taken it to another level.
Oh
And
yeah.
what inspired the Alice Cooper and Chris Angel collaboration?
Chris Angel came out to see us in Las Vegas about a year and a half ago, I think it was. And he really enjoyed the show. And in the back of his head, I think he was thinking, you know what? With this type of show that already has an element of illusions with the guillotine and some of the things that we do theatrically on stage. It is more of a theatrical rock show than your normal rock and roll show where you just put a bunch of video screens up and the band sits in front, which is nothing wrong with that because we have video screens as well. But we also have, like, I like to call it, for better words, for lack of a better term, we got to have a lot of high school production that works. You know what I'm saying? Alice impales the photographer every single night. He, has a sword of $1 billion bills that he shoots out to the crowd. He gets his head cut off every single night. I mean, they are illusions in one way or another. So I think Chris Angel was seeing this and going, wow, we could take these songs and even up them with bigger illusions, with the stuff that he's great at making these master illusions, and combine the two in sort of to an illusion, a rock and roll illusion, grand theater show. And that's exactly what we've done with Welcome to Our Nightmare. Hats off to Chris and Alice for putting together the songs and the illusions, and then the band coming in and recreating those songs to work around the illusions. And so far, the reviews seem to be pretty positive. The coolest thing about the whole show for me, though, is that there's no cell phone cameras allowed. So that, you put your cell phone in a bag before you go to the show. So the people are engaged. They're not just busy filming the show. They're busy enjoying the show and experiencing the show. And I think that's one of the most important things that's been lacking and missing from rock concerts in the last few years, for sure.
And there is a lot of aspect that gets taken away when you spend your time recording the show on your phone. You're definitely missing out on the
Yeah.
experience, and like, speaking of like the band and experience, congratulations on having Anna jump in with you guys. She's an incredible guitar player. And especially for someone who's 22, I think she's in like her like early 20s. But
Yeah. The thing is, you can't even compare her age to the tone that she has and the feel that she has with the guitar. She plays like someone that's been, her feel for the guitar is playing like someone that's been playing for years and years and years. And, she just has that approach. I think a lot of her guitar heroes are old classic rock guitar players, in the same sense, are the same, guitar heroes that I have as well. I mean, we both love Eddie Van Halen. We both, she loves Gary Moore. She's like one of the biggest, fans of Gary Moore, but she also loves Zakk Wylde too. So, she's got a great combination, and she's got great guitar influences for a lot of years to be sort of to be inspired by. And to be honest with you, she told us when she got into the band, she used to practice to the Orianthe the Alice Cooper Vacan show when we had Orianthe in the band. She used to practice to that live DVD, and now she's playing a lot of those same songs. And obviously, she's gotten to meet, all her guitar heroes during these last few festival shows that we've been doing, and we're headed out to Europe right now. And going to be touring across Europe and doing a lot of shows. I'm sure with a lot more of her guitar heroes, a lot of my guitar heroes we get to play with. It's always fun to play in Europe and play these festivals because you never know who you're going to meet up with. It's like a big reunion, and we're just looking forward to showing the world and showing Europe what we've been doing and what we've been practicing for and what we've been working at for the last few months, because it really has come together quite nicely. We're proud of it.
She's like such an awesome, guitar player, and definitely adds her own stamp, to like what you guys are doing. It all fits, pretty well.
You should
And
have her on the pod, man. You should have her on your show.
indeed, as a matter of fact, I want to, basically have her and Tommy on the show as well. It'd
Perfect.
be really,
Yeah,
really
they
cool.
would love it. They would kill it here. Yeah, they'd love it.
1000%, 1000%. And speaking of like the new generation, right? I noticed that a couple of legends are stepping up and passing on the torch of rock and roll. So based on your own outlook and your own like perspective, how do you feel about the new generation? How do you feel about the future of rock and roll?
It's definitely in good hands.
Yeah,
As I'm very happy to pass the torch on, and if I can inspire someone with my live show or some of the songs that I'm releasing now or anything that I've done in the past, and it helps out someone now to take that influence and then up it up a notch, all the power to them. I'm there for it. I know there's a lot of great rocket bands out there, and the thing is that it might not be in the mainstream like it was for us in the 80s and then with grunge as well. It still was guitar driven. It was still in the forefront. It might not be forefront and center, but rock and roll is definitely, it's in the trenches basically, and it's the way I started loving rock and roll to begin with. It's the alternative, it's the indie, it's the bands that are bashing it out in the clubs, and then they're making it up into the theaters, and then who knows, now next stop will be all the festivals. So there's a few bands out there that I got my eye on, and I have no problems with the future of rock and roll. I think it's very safe, and I think people are going to be out there rocking and rolling for a long time. There's just something about a band playing loud, aggressive, catchy uh, songs that make you want to move side to side or drive your car real fast.
yeah,
Hopefully, there's no shortage of that coming in the future.
yeah. Considering, I gotta say there is definitely a lot of great kids out there, or just like people in general that are just like passionate about the music. And I think that like social media has been a great way to discover new talent, for sure. But what would you say is, considering that you got all this stuff happening with TikTok and YouTube, and just bands or somebody just getting virality for a couple of months. Do you think virality is a good starting point to get your career started, or do you think that it is essential for some of these kids, for some of these guys to still experience the physical work of being a musician, like connecting with your audience, like playing shows, giving
Well,
them energy?
look at social media as a tool. It's just a tool, like the way the 4-track recording machine was a tool for us when it first came out, and we started writing all our songs on 4-track recording machines. It really helped the process. With promotion, social media really helps the process. You put videos out on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok or whatever social media platform that you choose to put it out on. It's a great tool. at the end of the day, you're going to have to perform it live in front of people to get that real feeling and to get that real diehard audience. I think you're going to have to, uh, you know, prove it live. You can smoke and mirror it as much as you want with great content pieces, but at the end of the day, a true band is going to earn its respect and it's going to earn its colors by playing live and being really good live in front of an audience. And so I think it's a good balance to do both. There's no reason not to put out social media because and not to put out content on social media because you'd be stupid not to. It's what we died to do when we were, kids growing up. We were like, how can we get our music out there? Now, every garage band that's, 14, 15 years old, kids starting their band, within 1 week, they can set up their accounts and they can start putting out stuff to the world the way we always wanted to when we were that age, going, how can we get our music out to the rest of the world? So use social media as a tool, but also don't forget that playing live is the way it's going to, playing live is just going to be your bread and butter at the end of the day. That's the way you're going to go out and you're going to shake hands. You're going to sell t-shirts. You're going to earn each fan by fan. And then those fans tell two friends and they bring two more friends down to the show. And pretty soon, hopefully you're opening up for Alice Cooper, or maybe you're headlining. I don't know.
During my short experience as a touring guitar player, it's such a great feeling to have that moment to connect with when your favorite artist is playing, either when the singer and you make eye contact while you're head banging to the song, or there's just like cool moments that you happen. So I definitely think that's where like the culture is, that's where like the heart of the moment is in itself. And speaking about music, Ryan, congratulations on your new single, Fight Another
Thank
Day.
you.
I love the whole Mario, Super Mario theme that you got going on. Like, what inspired the song Fight Another Day?
Well, all the credit to the video with the sort of 8-bit video game concept goes to Erwin Longre, who have worked on the last couple videos that we've done, that we've released. We did Better Than You uh, before, and now we just, then we put out Fight Another Day, and that has the 8-bit sort of video concept where I'm I'm sort of, it's kind of like Donkey Kong or Mario Brothers. I'm supposed to get my way to the stage, and I'm avoiding all the security guards, the big ragu secure evil security guards along the way. And we interspliced it with some live footage from all the guest appearances that made it down on it. Big thanks to Bridget West, who lent her background vocals on it. Trent Teakin played drums on this track as well again, and so it was really cool to have the special guests come down and help us out with that song and be part of the video. Robbie Miller is the producer of those last two songs, and we've been working really well together. We're actually in the studio right now working on some new music as well right now. But the thing is, and this is sort of my studio right now, it's I record the tracks here in South Africa, and then I send them to Canada. They get mixed there, and then they send them back, and then we kind of go back and forth between places. But yeah, the exciting news is that we're just now releasing a vinyl 45 RPM. They were calling it a double A side. It's like side one and side A. So you can get both Better Than You and Fight Another Day, both singles on one record on a 45 7-inch. I don't know if you know what a 45 RPM is. It's smaller than an LP. It's a very cool concept. The good people over at Bellyache Records have put together a really cool package, and I think they're producing it like in 3 colors of vinyl: purple, red, and traditional black vinyl. So go and check that out. You can check out any of the new songs and any of the links that you want about me at ryanroxie.com. It's a very easy website to navigate. It basically just has all the stuff if you're interested in finding out more about me, it has all the links to get exactly where you want to get. So if you want to buy the new 45, there's a link right there. If you want to join me on Instagram, it's right there. I think I've got the videos placed right there on the website. So ryanroxie.com if you want to find out more.
Absolutely, guys, and I end up posting like the links on the description of this podcast as well, so you know exactly where to
Appreciate it.
go. And absolutely, 1000%, Ryan. And like speaking of as a as a guitar player, one of the things that I was thinking about is, what do you think separates a player who gets, I want to say, I'm trying to think of what the good word is, but let's just say a stock, for example, whereas they can't seem to expand their own musical language versus a player who improvises and is able to like do more with a guitar. Because for me, the guitar is essentially like learning a new language. When you're writing a solo, when you're playing, it's like you're telling a story. So in yourself, it's like, what do you think is able to advance the one guitar player from getting a stock to improvising?
Well, I think if you have good ear training, that's going to help out a lot. If you can practice your ear training, so which basically means did it did it do, and then are able to transpose those same notes onto the guitar, and you play it note for note, what you're being able to hum, it helps out a lot with writing solos and writing melodies for a song. I liked what you said about, writing a bit of a story in your solos. I always say I don't want my solos to sound like scales. I want them to sound like stories that ultimately help the song. That being said, know your scales as well, because every once in a while, a technical riff, a good little scaly technical riff can really impress and really be a cool part of a solo, and you can work it into improvising. But if I had to give one sort of bit of advice, I'd say listen to other people's, especially ones that you're influenced by. Listen to their solos and learn their solos, learn their phrasing, learn their styles, but then learn it and then do a twist on it to make it your own, to put your stamp on it, do something that makes it a little bit different. Because at the end of the day, there's only 7 notes, and with the sharps and flat, there's only 12 notes total in music. So basically, every note combination that you can ever think of has already been played, or already been written, or already been put down on record. But it's up to you yourself to take those 12 notes total and bend a certain note in a certain way, hum a melody in your head and be able to transpose it with your onto the guitar and write your own melody line for it on your guitar that's going to separate you from everybody else and make you an individual. So like I said, work on your ear training. It's gonna help out. It's gonna pay dividends down the road, very much so. I mean, I would say even more than reading music. I got the Alice Cooper gig not because I could read music. I got it because I could ear train and learn all the songs very quickly in the audition format. So I was listening to the songs, picking out the notes, picking out the solos, boom. That's how I got the Alice Cooper gig. Although, you can read music, and that's great. If you go to school for it, it is a different language. But I'd say much more helpful in the world is ear training.
Besides ear training, right? What are other qualities that a hired gun must have in order for them to be valuable for whoever it is that they're playing for, in your experience?
Be a professional. Just be consistent. I said it earlier I think I said in the beginning of the conversation. Don't be a dick. Just be cool. Be able to hang in the bus, and if the the bus is crowded with 18 people, don't be the one complaining that there's 18 people. You're on a bus to begin with, playing music. If the gig is doesn't go on time because this or that. There's a million reasons why a gig can get postponed, canceled, or delayed. Roll with it. You got to be able to roll with it, especially as a hired gun. If you're going to be a hired gun, you've got to be adaptable. And dare I say the uh, Bruce Lee analogy. You have to be like water, and you have to just be like water and and just flow through everything, because everything that you think possibly can go wrong will not go exactly the way you thought it would go wrong. It will go wrong a completely different way. But don't worry, it's all going to work out at the very end of the day.
I love that takeaway. I love that takeaway. And speaking about touring, I remember last time we talked. I remember that you basically you used to work out, or maybe you still do. But what is your fitness routine now? Do you still use the Jillian Michaels the
Yeah,
workout?
you remember that, huh? Yeah, the 30-day shred. No, yeah,
Yeah,
I actually went from the 30-day shred to like the Peloton video core uh, videos. They got like a 10-minute core workout, but
yeah,
mostly, to be honest with you, it's a 50-minute cardio on the elliptical machines that I'm lucky enough to do when I'm on the road, because I spent so much time um, on the road this year so far. We're lucky that the hotels pretty much all have them. So it's just that basically that cross training elliptical machine, 50 minutes a day. I get to watch my YouTube during that time, get to catch up on current events, and then if I'm lucky, I get to play nine nine holes, 18 holes of golf, and that keeps the swing going, because it's not that I'm a great golfer. It's just the fact that I'm not a great golfer means that I get to swing more, which means I have more exercise than the average golfer, I guess.
there you go. There you go. And like, would you say that fitness in itself is important as touring musician or as someone who is touring a lot? Because in a way, the way how I see it, in my experience, going on the gym and working out has definitely helped, especially when it comes to just moving gear in and out of the room, being able to just put on a show when you're playing live. But what's your take on that?
I think, physical doing physical exercise helps clear your mind as well, and it keeps you balanced. It keeps you balanced, and at the end of the day, if you do something exercise wise, whether it's a walk, it's a jog, whatever you choose to do it, you've accomplished something. If you don't do anything for the rest of the day, you accomplished that workout. So you've done something positive for your body that's going to help you again. At the ultimate thing is the show, is the 90 minutes, 2 hours you're on stage. So if you've done something to help yourself prepare for that 90 minutes, 2 hours on stage, then it's already been a good day.
1000%. Ryan, and we'll just wrap it up with this. What would you say is one advice that you would give to someone who is trying to continue their journey as a musician?
Um, I say it in almost every interview. Hopefully,
Great.
uh, I'm not going to get a cease and desist from whoever came up with it, but it's the triple P's. That practice and that persistence and that patience. You got to practice. You got to go. Whatever it is that you're doing, you got to be good at it. You got to get good at it. And the only way of doing that is through repetition and sort of consistency. And then you've got that persistence factor of just, keep on knocking on that door, keep on making that phone call, keep on doing that post, keep on, practicing those same songs that you've been practicing for years, because that persistence will pay off. But you also have to have the patience, and you have to trust in the fact that you're going to get your shot at one point. If you've already prepared yourself with those first two, the preparation you put by practicing and having the persistence, that patience will pay off, because you will get your shot. The world's going to come and meet you halfway. And if you believe in those three things, you will have success. I guarantee it.
I always remember that every time that I get discouraged, and it's such a like one. I watch your talk about it, and it's such one memorable piece of advice. Ryan, once again, thank you so much for hopping on the Heaven on Rock podcast. It was awesome talking to you. And folks, if you want to be a guitar player, if you want to learn guitar or take your skill to the next level, go to ryanroxie.com and invest on the System 12 guitar method. It's a great guitar course. And don't forget, I know you need to spice up your playlist, so go and check out Ryan Roxie's latest single, Fight Another Day, and keep on rocking. Ain't that right, Ryan?
Thank you very much, Kevin, for having me on. We'll see you again sometime down the road. But yeah, I'll see some of your listeners at ryanroxie.com. I'm pretty approachable. Hopefully I'll see you at a rock show. And again, like I said, if you haven't seen Alice Cooper yet, get your tickets right now because this is a good time to see it. The band's kicking on all cylinders and Alice is on fire. So looking forward to playing all across Europe and the U.S. and more throughout 2026 and hopefully more some thereafter. So we'll see you.